Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. My name is Philip Endersby, and I'm your MC for today. Grand sale. I'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation and also pay our respects to elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to all Indigenous Australians present today. Welcome to our hybrid meeting to those online and in the room. Thanks today will be given by Tony Battoni, followed by the loyal toast presented by President Catherine. Please ensure your glass is charged. Tony.
The topic today is the club activities and project updates. So I thought I'd just reflect on my own experience with this club. And it's only a very short-term experience, but it's been a wonderful experience. Our incoming Rotary President-elect, Mario de Camargo, last week, you may have read, he's commented that, quote, the best qualified team of volunteers on the planet. Rotarians are the best qualified team of volunteers on the planet. I totally concur. And thinking about that, where else would membership of a single organisation allow me or someone to support life-saving work, to help talent to shine, to feed the homeless, and reward our most effective but least known community volunteers? This club makes it possible through its support of the PNG Snakebite Partnership, the recently announced awards for emerging young musicians, the roster that we do for Second Bite at Paran Market, and also things like the St John Reid Community Service Award, recognising unsung volunteers. And I mention those because they're just some of the things I've landed on in my personal deep dive into the world of Rotary. So when we hear today about further activities and project updates, we'll be reminded not just how much our club does, but more importantly, how many opportunities there are for members of the best qualified team of volunteers on the planet to put service above self. So for fellowship forged in service to others and friendships formed by good company shared over a fine meal, we give thanks.
Thank you, Tony. I'm sorry to say you've all got to stand up again. A toast to Australia and Rotary International. Could I ask you to remain standing for just a moment? I'm saddened to advise of the death of our esteemed past president and honorary member, David Jones, AO, OBE. David passed away peacefully after a long illness. David was inducted into our club on the club's 50th anniversary in April 1971 under the Classification Foundation's Geo Adams. He was educated at Wesley College and later at Greenwich College in the USA. He then followed that with Melbourne University qualifications. David was managing trustee of the estate of the late George Adams, CEO of Tattersalls Sweep Consultation. His company was a major contributor to the work of the club over many years. David also served as president of the Melbourne Cricket Club. David loved Rotary, the opportunity to network, the fellowship, and of course the action. He served on the Pan-Pacific Conference Organising Committee in 1987, Rotary International Peace Forum in May 1989. He was president of our club in 1992-93 and on the executive of Rotary International World Convention held in Melbourne that same year. He was also district governor's representative in 1993-1994. David received an OBE in 1981, an AM and subsequent AO for outstanding community service in Victoria, and a Paul Harris Fellow by this club in 1995. With over 53 years of service above self for this club, Rotary in Australia and internationally, and for the people of our great city, in June 2017, the then President Quinn Scalzo declared David an honorary life member of this club. A full obituary is being drafted, and I'm advised by his family that there will be a memorial planned in about 3 weeks' time which will be held at his beloved MCG. Lots more will be written about our esteemed member and his life of service. So let us pause for a moment of silence in honour of David. Bail David Jones. Please be seated. Members, visitors and guests, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our 31st meeting of this Rotary year and our 5068th club meeting in our 104th year. Thank you for coming along today, and also to those online. Our program team has put together a terrific agenda of project and member updates for today. This week, Rotary celebrates an anniversary, and normally we would schedule an Angus Mitchell oration close to this date. However, we're still working on a date and a very special speaker, so stay tuned and we'll give you more information closer to that once it's confirmed. I'd also like to welcome our members who are presenting today. You'll see some presentations that highlight our member expertise and some of the projects that we're running. We have Stephen Rando, our Club Communication Director, as Chair of the day, Mary Barry, Vice President, and our new member, Dimitrios Salampasis. Please join me in making them welcome. Now, we have a very important guest in our midst today, Julie Noonan. Our Program Coordinator for Western Chances is here, joined us today to receive our Christmas appeal check on behalf of Western Chances. Please join me in making Julie welcome. Julie, could I invite you to the podium, please? Our Christmas appeal was a terrific success, and I'd like to thank Julie for joining us today to accept the cheque. And the cheque is for $4,037.75, and that was raised through the Christmas appeal from all of you. And Julie's going to tell us how these funds will be used to help young people through Western Chances. So, Julie, please.
I'll just do the... Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if this was going to be one of those big novelty checks, but this will be much easier to take to the bank, so thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today and for this incredibly generous donation towards our work. Since 2004, for those of you who don't know, Western Chances, founded by Terry Bracks, has been partnering with government secondary schools across the west of Melbourne and most recently the city of Greater Geelong to identify and support talented and motivated and engaged young people to really fully engage in their education. And those young people, of course, all face financial barriers in order to do that. So Western Chances provide scholarships for them to purchase textbooks or a laptop or have internet access or a Year 12 jacket when they're in their final year of school and other bespoke needs. So if they're studying a vocational major, for example, and they need some specialist equipment, then we are able to provide scholarships for those needs as well. In addition to a financial contribution that we make through our scholarships, we also provide other opportunities through what we call our Links program. And the Links program provides access to opportunities such as leadership camps, networking opportunities, access to college, residential or non-residential scholarships with our college partners, and also paid internships, which is one of our newest programs. As you do through the Rotary Club of Melbourne, we aim to empower young people to achieve their full potential. And I know that you know very well that we have some young superstars in common, Edward Lee, Wazi Abidi, and Joseph Alcara are 3 Rotary Young Achievers and also Western Chances scholarship recipients. We have lots of superstars like the 3 of them, and we're enormously proud of their resilience and their ability to make the most of all that they do. So this donation for over $4,000, we are extremely grateful for. This will provide 4 scholarships to students in secondary school or just going into their first year of university. And it's the difference for those 4 students between having a laptop or having to go to the library at recess and lunch and borrow the school's laptop. It's the difference between having to stay in at recess or after school to have access to the internet because they don't have either of those things at home. It's the difference between having a Myki and being able to get to school or not being able to attend every day because you don't have a transport option to get to school unless you want to fare evade, which occasionally our young people have had to do in order to get to exams. It's the difference between a Year 12 student having the school jacket that everybody else has in Year 12 with their name on the back, or not having one and standing out because they can't afford one. So as important as the financial scholarships are, and they are very important, what Western Chances does is about more than just money. Through our Links program, which I mentioned, we're able to access networks, which is really important for our young people who often don't have them, and all of the other wraparound supports, including free tutoring that we offer to young people who have a maths science focus as their pathway. So we're enormously grateful to the Rotary Club of Melbourne, who do incredible work, not just in Australia, but internationally. Western Chances only work in the West and across the city of Greater Geelong. So we greatly admire all the incredible work that you do every day with many young people across those areas. To finish, I'd just like to share one of my favourite quotes from one of our recipients, Kevin Nguyen, who won one of our Dream Big awards last year. And he said, "This scholarship is a lot more than just financial aid. It helps fuel our aspirations, our future, and our belief in our potential. It is a vote of confidence in the person that I want to become." So on behalf of Kevin and all the young people that we work with and that you support, we say thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. It's utterly inspiring, the work that Western Chances does to help those young people in their journey toward a very different future than what they would have otherwise. So congratulations again. We're really proud to be partnering with you. Now I'd like to call on Rosemary Nixon, who is going to update us on footy tipping. Rosemary.
Well, who would have believed it? 8 days until the start of the AFL footy season, Brisbane versus Geelong at the Gabba. So we have this opening round, 4 interstate matches prior to round 1. Don't ask me why, maybe Sam might know. I don't know. Anyway, we have 4 matches coming up very soon. If you are a member of the Rotary footy competition from last year, all you need to do is tip. So you're basically enrolled. But you, as well as tip, you have to send us some money, $50 to the Rotary Melbourne Community Education Extension Fund. The details are in the email. If you are not a member, the easiest way to become a member is to email me at rosemarynixon@outlook.com, and I will send you an invite. Then when you get an email, you just click on the email and it'll open up and it'll say, "I'm not a member." Underneath, there's a box saying join the competition. So it's all pretty easy. And once you're a member, you can easily tip on the app, which is very, very convenient. So any problems, let me know. And happy tipping. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Just a message from the Sofitel that next Wednesday, the 5th of March, all guests will need to use the lifts on the ground floor near the driveway to access level 35, as the lobby level in the entire first floor has been reserved for a private function. So no gate crashing. I've also just received some more information around David Jones's memorial service. It will be held at the MCG on Tuesday, the 25th of March at 3 p.m. We'll publish that in our newsletter as well, so that those of you who are able to attend can go along. All right, I'll now hand over to Stephen Rando, our chair of the day, to take over the meeting. Thank you, Stephen.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome here is today. Obviously warm outside, but it's going to get warmer in here. It's always a pleasure to stand before you and celebrate the incredible talent, dedication, and generosity within our great club. Today, we are privileged to hear from 2 distinguished members who embody the spirit of Rotary through their leadership and service. And our agenda reflects that breadth of that today. The expertise we have in our club, we should not forget. And I'm sure you'll find today's presentations both insightful and inspiring. Before we move on to our great guests, however, I would like to take a few moments to highlight a very exciting new initiative that we're proud to support today. I'll invite Jim Orchard to also join me as well. It is called Run the Tan. Many of you are familiar with the iconic Tan track, 3.98 kilometres, or for those that like to skip up the hill, it's about 3.65. And we're proud to be involved in this initiative of Run the Tan. Been running for about 3 years, sponsored by another great Rotarian part of our club, our previous Lord Mayor, Sally. And really this event brings together the community to promote health, well-being, and the spirit of giving. Now, this is very important because our involvement focuses on four key areas. The event will support a range of charities, ones that's close to home in our club, but also new ones, including mental health initiatives and youth programs. By participating, we're directly contributing to these causes that are aligning to our Rotary values and, more important, to the service of community of betterment, just down the road down there. Further, Jim will talk about the volunteering opportunities and more around the numerous ways that we can all get involved. If you do not wish to run, that's okay. We still need your enthusiastic volunteers to assist us on the day, and from registrations to cheering on participants, which Jim will talk to in a minute. But more importantly, around fundraising for a very important cause of mental health, one that has either impacted you directly or may impact you in the future. And it is a worthy cause, whether through sponsorship, personal donations, or even volunteering your time on the day would be greatly appreciated. And more lastly, I love to run, everyone. And of course, for those that are up for the challenge, we would love to see you and our Rotary members lace up your racing shoes to hit the track, or even give us a walk around the tan. I invite you all to get involved in whatever capacity that you can, but more around together, we can make a meaningful impact while strengthening our club's presence of community on the day. For further information, I'm just going to hand over to Jim to talk about those volunteering opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. So I guess just to add a little bit of specificity. So I think there's really 3 categories of volunteers we're looking for. There's runners or walkers to support the event. There is a sort of a unique aspect to this particular volunteering opportunity is it does allow us to showcase and promote Rotary and the Rotary Club of Melbourne. So we will have a tent. We will do a bit of sort of branding in a sense of, be proud to wear our Rotary Melbourne stuff. So we're hoping that there will be people who will come up and say, what do you guys do? I've heard about Rotary. I'd like to join. That's something we really haven't done. I don't think Rotary does a great job, full stop, but I don't think the Rotary Club of Melbourne probably does a wonderful job either. So that's a real opportunity, particularly for more experienced folks who may feel, I really don't want to run and I don't want to be a route marshal, which might be one of the other activities. But if you're experienced, you know about Rotary and passionate about it and want to sell it to, people who come up and ask, it's a really good opportunity to contact either myself or Stephen and put your name down and hopefully encourage a few more people to join. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now move on, and it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Dimitrios Salampasis. Dimitrios is a distinguished new member of our club with a wealth of experience in emerging technologies, financial innovation, and the future of work. He brings a unique global perspective and a deep commitment to ethical and sustainable innovation. And today, Dimitrios will share his insights into his professional journey and provide reflections on his recent experience in Davos, one of the world's most influential gatherings from global leaders. Please join me in welcoming Dimitrios to the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the very kind invitation. So this brief presentation will basically be a reflection on my experience and what happened during my recent time in Davos. Davos hosts the annual World Economic Forum, which is one of the most prestigious global events happening every year. And I was there both under my capacity as an associate professor of emerging tech and fintech at Swindon University, and also as a senior executive fellow within the Digital Economist, which is an international think tank based in Washington that deals with technology and economy and sustainability. So the topic for this year was about collaboration for the intelligence age. And I think there are a number of pressing themes that emerge out of that. First of all, was about trust, and it's really around how do you actually strengthen foundations in a world where it's driven by digital narratives, and basically how do we make sure that we build or rebuild trust in this kind of society. Reimagining growth, especially in times again of AI, and how do you actually harness new economic opportunities, and what kind of new sources of growth exist also in terms of geopolitical insecurities, economic instability, and also new ways of understanding what growth means for the economy. Safeguarding the planet, climate change is very, very urgent. So basically, how do you actually ensure that we've got sustainability in the agenda? And also, again, how do we actually create a digital transformation that is inclusive for everyone? But also, how do we ensure that people are still part of the agenda, how people are still part of the humanity? So really equipping workforce, upskilling and reskilling our workforce. During this opportunity, again, and for the ones who don't know, there is the main stage, which is around the politicians, the diplomats and all that. But then there's also an entire new ecosystem there with companies, with events. I actually spoke at 5 different events, which I'm going to briefly share. And basically, I participated in 20 other with high-level people from across the globe. So you get that kind of international immersion, which is amazing. So one of the events was around fintech, which was really one of my subject matter expertise, really around the new trends, where the fintech space is heading, what are the key narratives around financial inclusion, opportunities, and also how do we make sure policy is there. That was a panel during the Innovation Week. The second one was a bit different and a bit out of my own comfort zone, but I was invited to attend. It's really around finding common ground. How do we basically recreate relationships and how do we find safe spaces within our digital world? And basically how to create this kind of insightful dialogues and how do we ensure that we bridge the virtual and the physical worlds together and what kind of new environments emerge? AI, emerging tech, that was a very interesting one because we explored where does the future go in relation to this kind of trends, intelligence, activities around all these new emerging landscape of AI. Think about generative AI, agentic AI, decentralized AI and the likes, and where does technology is heading along. The ethics of AI was one of the most discussed topics during Davos. Is around humanity, is around the ethical weighting on understanding that the ethical dimension of AI and emerging tech is very, very critical. And basically, it doesn't mean that because AI can do it, it should do it. So the ethical, I think, discussion is one of the key foundations that we haven't really touched upon a lot. And the final one was about artificial intelligence, blockchain, and beyond. So again, looking here at the inclusion side, bringing humanities back into the emerging tech, looking into the new models, and also understanding what kind of data economies emerge from this space. So really fascinating discussions, and also talking with all these leaders from around the globe has been a very fascinating experience. So really, I think my whole reflection, and I think it pictures an interesting but also quite worrisome and gloomy picture. We see AI everywhere nowadays, which is both good and bad. So, and the confluence with other technologies is also very important. The power of data and the true power of data that none of us actually understands that very well. So, and also who's gonna manage, who's gonna own. So there is questions around data monopolization, data capitalism, and the likes. The deepfakes and the whole, AI and tech-driven online crime, fraud. This is one of the key challenges that our society is being faced with. And this is also in relation to disinformation, narratives in relation to what is actually true, and also connections with democracy. We have seen numerous cases around the globe that data and information has been manipulative. Geopolitics, and how do we actually, there's also new, if I use war of who's going to be competing in the new era of emerging tech is very, very critical. ESG, sustainability, financing for impact is very, very tricky as well. But also, I think bridging science, society, and humanity. And that's also why is it very important for private-public partnerships, ethical governance. So these are also some pressing questions that were discussed during the whole week. Again, multiple events, multiple people, and lots of thinking. And these were my key points, and that's what I'm also bringing back to my own research and my own thinking. That also led to a couple of media engagements. I was in Greece during the time, so I was invited twice by the national television, one before Davos to present the agenda and one after to actually present what happened. Very interesting to also showcase this kind of a reflective expertise. And if anyone is interested, there is a video of me that has been developed by the Digital Economist, which is on YouTube. And basically you can check the overall reflection, see also the connections that I made and the overall experience. So lots of learnings to bring back, lots of reflections, but this has been a great experience. And I think the learnings, we're going to be using them quite a lot also in our work here. So thank you so much for the invitation. The slides will be available to all of you.
Thank you, Dimitrios. Extremely fascinating, and obviously the role that Rotary play in many community organisations to limit the good and bad actors that we're seeing now, and recent news, the current more fraud, more cryptocurrencies being invoked, and many people being affected in a bad way, not in a good way. Our next speaker needs no introduction. Mary Barry, our Vice President, has an extraordinary career in leadership and community advocacy. And today, Mary will speak to us about Cynthia. Cynthia's Edgell's bequest, a generous legacy that reflects Rotary's enduring commitment to supporting meaningful causes. She will share the significance of this bequest and how it will continue to shape the work we do. Please join me in welcoming Mary to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen, and good afternoon, everybody. The late Cynthia Edgell, who was a cherished and long-standing member of Rotary Melbourne, generously bequeathed $100,000 to the club. As the bequest was untied, it was up to the club to determine the most meaningful way to allocate the funds to honour Cynthia. But to do this, it was very important to understand a bit about Cynthia's life and her contribution to Rotary Melbourne. So in terms of Rotary Melbourne, Cynthia was a much-loved and dedicated member of Rotary Melbourne. A speech pathologist by training, she led the speech pathology department at the Royal Children's Hospital for 13 years before transferring to financial services and later finding her passion in life coaching. Cynthia was inducted to the club in 2004 with, of course, the classification of life coach. Over the years, she contributed wholeheartedly to numerous committees. These included public relations, membership development, vocational service, community welfare, reception, and programs. She was also a steadfast member of the Malvern Group, bringing energy and enthusiasm to every single role she undertook. Her most significant impact was in vocational service, where she played a leading role in identifying and celebrating talent through club awards such as the Young Achievers Award and the Shine On Awards for individuals with disabilities. In 2008, not happy to stay in Australia, she extended her service beyond Australia, travelling to East Timor as a safety officer for a club building project in Bacau. Travelling to East Timor, she loved and dedicated herself to Rotary. Her dedication to service was recognised that year when she received the Axel Award for her outstanding contributions. Cynthia's passion for community welfare was evident in her leadership of the mentoring programme with the Brotherhood of St. Lawrence and her advocacy for Rotary Connects project. Volunteering, of course, was an integral part of Cynthia's Rotary journey. She readily stepped up to help at events such as Around the Bay, vintage sales and donations in kind. Her keen eye for talent and dedication to service was also evident in her involvement in recognising individuals in the Community Service Award and most recently the club's inaugural Environmental Award. Her generous support of Rotary Foundation was also acknowledged, reaching 2 Sapphire Paul Harris level. She was honoured as the Rotary Melbourne 2020 Wigner Mentoring Awardee. So what about Cynthia the person? Well, her fellow Rotarians have described her as warm, cheerful, elegant, welcoming, caring, organised, and above all, fun. She brought a wonderful energy to the club, whether through her leadership, her camaraderie at Rotary convention treks, or her sheer determination and passion for service. Above all, Cynthia amplified grace, dignity, friendship, and the true spirit of service above self. And this has become even more evident with her extremely generous bequest of $100,000. This bequest is to be known formally as the Cynthia Edgell Empowerment Opportunity Gift and informally as Cynthia's Gift. It will be used to empower young women and girls from underprivileged backgrounds to transform their lives by providing the necessary support to unlock opportunities in critical areas such as education, employment, and financial independence, which will no doubt equip recipients with the tools and resources to build a brighter and more secure future. Funding of up to $10,000 per annum will be made available to successful applicants. So how will the bequest be allocated? Well, Rotary Melbourne will partner with agencies that support disadvantaged and underprivileged women and girls in our communities. These could include AfriCare, the Smith Family, Brotherhood of St. Lawrence, Family Violence Agencies, Western Chances, all those agencies that we work with and support. And we will seek applicants via those agencies. The application process will be overseen by a subcommittee of the Community Welfare Committee, consisting of the chair, who is Kevin Sheehan, members Branko Panic, Chris Soteropoulos, President-elect Philip Cornish, David Carruthers, and myself. The committee will review applications and make a recommendation to the Community Welfare Committee for endorsement, and once endorsed, the successful applicant or applicants will be recommended to the board for approval. So how are we going to review and assess applications? Well, applicants must provide evidence demonstrating that they come from a low-income or disadvantaged background, show a strong commitment to improving their circumstances through education, employment, or skill development, demonstrate that they face obstacles preventing them from accessing opportunities that could otherwise lead to education, employment, or economic self-sufficiency, and also present a plan of how they intend to use the funding to create lasting change, whether through education, certification, job training, or even launching a small business to achieve employment and economic stability. The committee is currently seeking applications from several organisations. The closing date is the 31st of March, with applicants advised by the end of May. The official launch of Cynthia's Gift will occur sometime in June 2024 at a club lunch. And we do hope to have somebody from Cynthia's Edgell family in Tasmania to come and give the awards for the first year at least. So we're fingers crossed that that will be able to happen. So in conclusion, while Cynthia's bright personality and can-do nature has been deeply, deeply missed since her passing, her legacy of kindness and dedication will live on in the many lives she touched and will continue to touch for many years to come through her very generous bequest. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for those thoughtful insights from Cynthia, and more importantly, reminding us of the power of legacy in shaping our future. I'd also like to extend my sincere thanks to Dimitrios for sharing his expertise and reflections here today. We wish to obviously make sure we get those insights into our club and take action based on those movements. Both presentations have highlighted the depth of knowledge that we have and the spirits of service that define our great club. As always, I encourage you to stay engaged, get involved, and continue to be ambassadors for the incredible work that we do. Thank you all for your time and participation, and I look forward to all seeing you at the upcoming events. And of course, run the tan. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, again, visitors and guests, and hopefully you enjoyed our members' lunch today. Look, we also just want to thank again MC Bernie and the reflections from Tony today on the lunch setup and reception team. Again, thank you, Joe, for your efforts in making this happen. A reminder for next week, like today, your minds may have been blown by the amazing work we do, but next week, I can tell you, we've got Astrophysics Professor Alan Duffy, our Vice-Chancellor for the flagship initiatives for Swinburne University. Alan is an incredible leader in the scientific space, but more importantly, in terms of what's happening up in space. We spent about $1.13 billion, and there's a project happening at the moment from 2038 to 2039. And for all the North Melbourne supporters, it's called the Rover, and that will be going up to Mars. So the Mars to Mission program that Alan Duffy will talk about. So we look forward to seeing you all of next week in terms of what we're doing in that space.